Hello and welcome. You ever just stop and wonder, why do we do the things we do? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the science of behavior. We're taking a special tour inside a foundational course on applied behavior analysis. We'll get to see how this incredible framework helps us understand behavior, teach brand new skills, and really, truly improve people's lives. Now, before we really dive in, just a quick but super important note. We've used Notebook LM to pull together the key ideas here, but all the content itself is the proprietary work of Special Learning Incorporated. So what you're getting today is an exclusive preview, just a little taste of the amazing insights you'll find in the full training. All right, so here's the roadmap for our tour. We'll kick things off with the big picture. What exactly is behavior analysis? Then we're going to play detective and decode behavior with this powerful little tool called the ABC framework. From there, you'll see how these ideas are already all around you, every single day. We'll peek inside an instructor's toolkit, and then we'll uncover why data is the secret ingredient that makes this whole thing click. Let's get started. First up, let's get right to the heart of it. What is behavior analysis, really? Forget about abstract theories for a minute. This is a practical science, and it has a really clear, really powerful mission to make a meaningful, positive difference in people's lives. And here it is, the core definition. Applied behavior analysis, or ABA for short, is all about taking the science, the principles of how behavior works, and applying it to improve someone's quality of life. That word applied is everything. It means we're not just observing from a distance. We are actively using this science to help people learn, grow, and hit their goals. This slide really lays out the full mission of ABA. It's kind of got 4 parts. See, it's not just about stopping challenging behaviors. It's just as much about building up positive skills, things like communication. And it's about teaching brand new, essential life skills from the ground up. But here's the kicker. It's also about making sure those skills actually stick. We want them to work not just in a therapy room, but at home, at the park, with different people. That's called generalization, and it's absolutely vital for real-world success. Okay. So now we know what ABA is trying to do. But how do you even figure out where to begin? Well, you have to understand the why behind any behavior. And this next part, this is where we put on our detective hats. And here it is, the #1 tool for any behavioral detective, the ABCs. This simple 3-step sequence is basically the key to unlocking the whole puzzle of behavior. You have A for antecedent, what happened right before, then B for the behavior itself, and finally C for the consequence, what happened right after. Just by looking at this simple little chain of events, we can start to figure out the reason, or the function, of almost any action. You know, once you start seeing the world through this ABC lens, you can't unsee it. You start to realize that these principles of behavior are absolutely everywhere. And chances are, you're already using them in your own life without even thinking about it. Here's a perfect example from home, getting an allowance. So the antecedent is the chore chart on the fridge. The behavior is, actually doing the chores. And the consequence? You get paid. That consequence makes it way more likely the chores are going to get done again next week. That's a basic reinforcement system, right there. And you see this stuff in schools all the time. Think about those traffic light card systems. They provide really clear, immediate consequences for how kids are behaving in the classroom. You start on green, and your actions during the day decide if you stay there or move to yellow or red. It's all about making those consequences super visible and easy to understand. And believe it or not, it continues right into the workplace. A performance bonus for hitting your sales goals? That's just a consequence designed to reinforce the behavior of selling more. So when you look at it this way, you realize these principles aren't just for therapy. They're woven into the very fabric of how our society works. Okay, so we get the why behind behavior now. So the next big question is how? How do we actually teach new skills? Well, this course doesn't just hand you one answer. It gives you a whole toolkit, because it recognizes that the right tool always depends on the person and the skill you're trying to teach. So this slide breaks down 2 of the cornerstone teaching methods. Over on the left, you've got discrete trial training, or DTT. Think of this like very targeted practice, like drills. It's super structured and uses a lot of repetition to build a skill from scratch, say learning your colors with flashcards. Then on the right, you have natural environment training, or NET. This is more like learning on the fly. You use the child's own motivation in the moment. So instead of flashcards, you might say, hey, can you pass me the blue car while you're playing? One builds the foundation, and the other makes it functional in the real world. So how do you take these powerful one-on-one teaching methods and make them actually work in a busy, dynamic classroom? The course dives right into that challenge, translating all this theory into practical, real-world strategies you can actually use. And this is just a little sample of the practical tools you'd learn about. I'm talking about things like visual schedules, which make transitions way more predictable and less stressful, or token systems that can motivate an entire group of kids toward a shared goal. The whole idea is for you to walk away with strategies you can put into practice like the very next day. And now we've reached the part that holds everything else together. It's the one thing that really elevates ABA from just a collection of good ideas into a true science. And that's data. This quote from the course instructor really says it all, doesn't it? In ABA, we just don't operate on hunches or what we think might be working. Nope, every single decision is driven by data. It's the only way to be objective, to be accountable, and to make sure that what we're doing is genuinely helping the learner make progress. At the end of the day, collecting and looking at data is what turns you from just an instructor into that behavioral detective we talked about. It lets you see the patterns, it proves that progress is actually happening, and, this is huge, it tells you when to change your strategy the moment something isn't working. It's all about making sure every single moment is spent as effectively as it can be. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. This whole scientific approach, it's about gaining a deeper, more effective, and more compassionate understanding of why people do what they do. So the question I'll leave you with is this. If using data can unlock a better understanding of behavior, what new possibilities could that open up for you, or maybe for someone you care about? Thank you so much for joining us on this little inside look at the Intro to ABA Level 1 course. If what you saw today sparked your interest and you're ready to really dive deeper and master these skills, you can find the entire training available for purchase over at store.speciallearning.com. Thanks for tuning in.